I've been working with a nurse dietitian for the last 6 months, and it's been life-changing. I've lost weight, healed my relationship with food, and have way more energy. Working with a dietitian online to create a personalized nutrition plan was so easy thanks to Nourish. The best part? I pay $0 out of pocket because Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans. 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Find your dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews or news, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue. And guess what? Now you can call them on your auto insurance too with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. Get your quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Then fly with Condor Airlines. With nonstop flights to Frankfurt, Germany, there are great connection options to several cities. Whether it's the romantic streets of Paris or the stunning beaches of Barcelona, Condor will start your vacation by offering comfortable and spacious cabins. Fly the striped way. Visit condor.com today.
Hey, anyone know what channel the game's on? We know. Download the Sports on What app today and always know how to watch the game. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Subscribe today to start your 7-day free trial. Sports on What? We know.
Welcome to the Men's Room Appy Hour, broadcast exclusively on Odyssey. Let the shenanigans begin.
Over Charles, welcome to the Men's Room Appy Hour, exclusively on Odyssey and the Odyssey app. Thank you for joining us for show number 1. This is our first ever podcast we've done the entire time we've been here in 20 years.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, never gets old. We've been busy with our 20th year. That's a fact. First and foremost, we have a brand new sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the studios go, our show, the radio station, the fine folks at Pinky's Plumbing.
Yeah, man.
And we were fortunate enough to meet with them last week. They brought in brisket for breakfast.
That's why we were fortunate enough to meet with them last week.
Exactly. And it was one of the best briskets that I've had in a long, long time.
I was questioning it because he was cutting it thick, and I'm just like, oh, man. And then it melted in my mouth. I'm like... He is from Texas. He clearly knows what he's doing. I don't recommend eating brisket for breakfast only because by noon I wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah,
I'm not going to not eat brisket if it's in front of me, but I'm like, man, it's 10:30, but fine.
Yeah, the brisket was good, and then that night I had a steak, and I was like,
Jesus, dude.
I'm pretty sure I ate half a cow that day.
All right. Yeah, I was talking to those guys.
Hey, when you crash another couple's Valentine's Day, you enjoy their steak and
You
shrimp.
crashed someone's Valentine's Day?
Yeah, Brad and Taryn.
You crashed their Valentine's Day?
Hey, they invited me over, so
Okay.
I said, hey, would you rather me come over on Saturday or Friday? And they were like, we got a lot of family stuff on Saturday. I was like, say less. I'll be there Friday night.
Damn.
Happy Valentine's Day, y'all.
Golly.
You going to finish that steak or what?
It was
Brought
kind of
flowers.
But you would have loved it. We each had our own steak, shrimp, asparagus.
Jesus.
Other
That is
than
good.
asparagus. That does sound good, though.
No.
It was great.
That's very cool. Oh, by the way, I was talking to the guys at Pinky's. I have had a couple of plumbing issues in my home, and I have hired other people before. I'm not going to say the names. You've seen them on billboards,
Sure.
whatever.
Sure.
You know the commercials, right? But called them, absolutely got fucked over. I mean, big time on all the rebuilds I need to do on the toilets, how much they overcharged me. There was a bunch of different shit going on. But just know this. I know for a fact, that Pinky's Plumbing, they will not screw you over. These guys are honest. They want your repeat business. Like the last people that came into my home, I would never hire them again.
Really?
Never. And it was just once I found out how bad I got railroaded, also found out what their business strategy is. There's so many customers, we only want you one time.
Yeah.
And if we can get everyone one time in the area, we're going to make money no matter what. But we're not going to have a lot of repeat business. That's just their model of how they do things. Pinky's is completely different. When they go in, they're not going to fuck you over on the estimate. They're going to tell you exactly what's going on. If you ever had a problem with a contractor in general, you're not going to have those problems.
And he's real serious about that.
Yeah,
That's one thing that really struck me. He's just the integrity and the honesty. And to him, like, He's a pretty easygoing guy, kind of smiles, but when you bring that shit up, man, like he got so serious about it. Like, look, man, you don't fuck customers over. Like, dude, we're not asking you to. I'm just bringing it up. Like, I almost felt threatened saying anything, man.
Also, we've been doing a lot of crap, so we went up to the Grand Casino in lovely Shoreline, Washington. They've totally redone that place. I don't know what it was like before.
It was nice, man.
It is very, very cool. The food is amazing. The menu is amazing. Thanks to James for hooking us up. Natalie, the bartender.
You are the best. You are the best bartender.
Got cans of men's room in there?
Yes,
Yep.
IPA. The big ones. And we... well, I woke up this morning and went, man, how about that night?
Yeah, I felt like shit.
I did not realize exactly. Ooh, did make a stop at the rickshaw on the way home with Castle.
Did you stop at the rickshaw?
I made sure that he did not drink anymore. Because he's like, let's just get a couple beers. And I'm
That's not what he said.
Yeah,
well, we had shots, but he wanted to hang out and drink beer. And I'm like,
wait a minute.
They didn't drink anymore, Ted, but they just had shots.
I mean, like sitting down and like we walked in. Karaoke's about ready to start at the rickshaw. No. It's time to go.
Apparently, he recommended that maybe you guys might do some karaoke.
Well, I'm like, look, I can see them setting up, and I've seen this movie before, and I'm like,
we got kicked out of it.
And he's like, man, because we're at the bar, and I'm reliving all this shit going through my head, and it seems like the same group of characters are lurking around, just getting ready for their moment up there on stage. Not really drinking, just kind of sipping on Coke. So I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go. Yeah. Karaoke's about ready to start. So we made quick work of that place.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did, because by the time I got home, I'm just like, you know what? It's going to crack a beer. I'm like,
Yeah. I was talking with him, and he says, yeah, Miles and I, we stopped down at the rickshaw, get a couple shots, and that was a bad idea. Side note, it was my idea.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Because he's like, let's get some beers. I'm like, fuck no, man. Let's go anywhere else. I love the rickshaw. It's fine. But just when the karaoke starts, doesn't matter where I am.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm ready to move on to a different location.
Well, we stopped at the local watering hole, which I vaguely remember. My wife's going on this morning about my conversation with somebody, and in my head, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about.
Oh, you were out there with that dude for a while.
Was I?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, man, I don't know. I have no idea. As soon as my wife saw me, she joined us last night. She got there like an hour into it, right? So I'm outside smoking. My wife comes walking up, and she just looks at me and goes, you've had at least 4 shots. Now, she was wrong. I was 6 deep, but I didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. I just said, maybe, and left it at that. She's like, we've been together for 21 years. She's like, as soon as I looked at you.
Did she play any blackjack?
She didn't. I thought she would.
Okay.
So my wife, one thing.
Well, that's the other thing is.
What?
Like, I went home. Actually, frankly, I went home and took a shit. Played a home game. Then I Ubered up there. So, like, I hadn't had a drink yet. So then, like, you guys were all pounding shots and everything. It was like, oh, we're done.
Yep.
And everybody got up and left. And I was like, God damn, hang on, man. I just ordered this one. Come on, man. I was talking to the bartender. I was like, that's just how they roll. They're in early. And then when they're done, they're done.
Yeah. That's pretty
And then I did, like, on the ride to the bar, your wife goes, how many shots did you have? And you just laughed and went, I will never answer that.
What a dumb question.
And then I like the realization when we left the bar. You're in offense. You didn't drink much of the bar.
No, I did not.
I think you and that guy were out there. I think you guys started smoking a joint, so you guys were just chatting. And then on the way home, you went, I keep thinking it's Friday, and it's not.
Yeah.
And like we tried, I was like, oh, yeah. And you were like, no, I know. Yeah. I want it to be Friday. And I was like, I hear you, brother.
Yeah, they have a great Chinese menu, a Thai menu. They've got American,
that
hamburgers and the food.
Pork belly.
Taco thing?
What is that?
Bao.
Pork belly
bao.
Castle got looked delicious.
Yeah. Food is fantastic. And great service and great people. So.
And they have spring rolls with fucking meat in it. Seriously, man. They had shrimp and pork spring rolls. I'm like, I'm ordering them because every other time you get fucking spring rolls, it's all that vegetable shit.
Did that food that you took home, did that even make it to today, or did your kid eat it all?
No. My wife informed me this morning as I was I was going to bring it in for work today. I'm like, man, what the fuck did I do with it? She's like, you left it in the fucking car. I'm like,
oops.
God damn it.
That's cold enough outside.
Otherwise, my son would have eaten it. That is a guarantee, man. If I brought that in, he'd have mounted down.
Oh, here's a good one for you.
Dude, I'm telling you, I know it's not the fanciest Chinese food. I'm telling you, just go through Panda Express for their egg rolls.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, you're not kidding.
I need a good egg roll.
So for a while there, I had a rental car because they were trying to get just the parts ordered for the repair work on my car. So I have a rental car. Like anything else, routine-wise, I'm not used to it, but whatever. So Castle, at one point in time, this is like Turns out this is like 2 days before I need to bring the rental car back. All right, so Castle, he goes and fishes in Alaska. He goes down to Astoria. Typically, when he goes up with his father-in-law, he comes home with just pounds and pounds of salmon or cod or halibut, whatever they get into. And so his freezer is limited. But I can't remember, he's doing that weight loss thing, and I can't remember if it was salmon he couldn't eat or whatever they do. I think, for whatever reason, he brings in like 5 of these big pieces of salmon.
Yeah.
So I determined after I've eaten one of these, I'm going to restock and take one home. I do the same thing. I leave the salmon in the floor seat on the passenger side of the rental car. Now, I don't realize I've done this. I pull in, I wake up in the morning, I get in the car, get my coffee, and I'm like, what in the fuck is that? And I'm
Smell
like,
it.
oh shit. And I look, man, and there's like a defrosted fish just like kind of starting to like bubble up in the wrap like it's growing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh God. It was in my trash for 2 days. When I took my trash out, it was that was probably the worst thing I ever smelled. But when I took the car back, I mean, I got the windows rolled. Like when I'm going up Aurora, I've got all 4 windows down. I'm like, shit, man, this whole thing smells like fish. Bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no, man. This is like days after this. Like, I can never, I'd pull in and just roll all my windows down all night. I could not get the fish.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. When that pipe starts to trickle and you're in a real pickle, call Pinky. When that burst pipe starts to smell ripe, call Pinky. When your water heater's shot and it won't get hot, call Pinky. When you get home to a flood, call your best bud. Pinky's Plumbing to the rescue. No job is too big or too small. Pinky's does it all. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
When your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
What is Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes, I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
Smell out. So I took some Lysol. That shit works. I've got a can of Lysol that I've had for 20 years, right?
Right.
I very, very sparingly use this thing. It looks like, old school, big, tall can. When Dude's checking out the car, and he goes, smells really clean, man. You did a great job. I'm like, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I was trying to keep up the, the good appearance on this bad boy. It's a pretty good ride for a fact, Right. I'm like thinking to myself, like, are they going to email me later, like, upon further inspection, what the fuck is this smell?
Why does it reek of fish in here?
Jesus Christ. Also, we got to, one more note, we got to talk to our buddies Ken and Donnie from The Advocates. They came in to cut some new commercials and stuff, talking to those guys. And I felt bad for them. Obviously, we shooting the shit and find out that they, and you should never feel bad when someone goes to the Super Bowl.
No.
But they went to the Super Bowl, and I'm just sitting there. I don't say too much because I know, look, it's in New Orleans. You're not going to have a bad time in New Orleans no matter what. We were there for the Super Bowl. You can still get into restaurants. It's not crazy crowded.
Right.
But, you're going to the Super Bowl. So, number one, I know for a fact, I can't imagine being around Philadelphia Eagles fans for maybe 2 days leading up to the game or 3 days leading up to the game.
Loud.
And I don't know. Everything you've told me about Kansas City fans.
They were great fans.
These are awesome. When we were down there as the 49ers fans, believe it or not, they were great. But then again, we're not the Seahawks.
Correct.
Right.
So there's a big difference.
That's a massive difference.
But to be down there, surrounded by just the loudest group of people that you could ever imagine, everywhere you go, and they don't shut the fuck up. They scream. I mean, everyone is yoked. Everyone is ready to fight. Everybody is loud. and then you go and you watch that game, and it just sucks, from top to bottom. The moment, and how much like they do a lot of trips like that where they'll go to really cool events, and use those as their vacations. But man, oh man, I can't imagine, even if I was a fan of either team, dropping the money. Even if the Ravens were playing the Eagles, it's going to suck for the 3 days leading up to it because you got to deal with fucking Eagles fans when you're trying to have a fun time for 3 days.
Well, the good news is the Eagles won, because if the Eagles had lost, the Eagles fans would take to stabbing.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe it's a Super Bowl, so you don't get as many of those kind of fans.
Maybe not.
You don't. 'Cause when we went for the Ravens, one thing that made, obviously, there's a big contingency of 49ers fans, big contingency of Ravens fans, but the Super Bowl's so expensive that a lot of people just buy the tickets at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Right? Whether your team goes or not. Like, if you're a Jaguars fan, you fucking
There's guys
they're
that
not
just
going
do
to the
that.
Super
No
Bowl.
matter what team you're from,
But
they buy them every
But
year.
it was kind of cool. It almost looked like the NFL draft because everyone flies their colors. Right? So even on game day, like, I remember a ton of Jets fans that were there. And I just thought, like, this is really cool. So even seeing, I remember there was a couple that were Bengals fans, which as a Ravens fan, typically we talk shit. But it's hard to explain. Like, in that moment, everyone's just happy to see each other.
How great is
like,
this, man?
Cool, man. Yeah.
It's like people from Boston when they go on vacation. Let's just say they go to Jamaica, right? And I've met these people because they start talking to each other. Where are you from? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. What part of Boston? And, fuck that fucking high school.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck. And they're best friends. But when they go back home, they hate each other's guts again.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
They're best friends for like a week on vacation. Then when they separate, they're back to hating each other, even when they live in the same town.
Well, when you're out of town, especially somewhere random, and you see somebody else with even the team you hate, you're just like, oh man, what are you doing here?
If I see someone with like a Steelers jersey, right? But I'm in, I don't know, fucking Des Moines, Iowa. I'd be like, Ravens fan here. Now, normally we would talk shit, but for whatever reason, in that moment, we're happy to see each other.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, to this day, I hate Gonzaga High School because of the DeMatha stuff. And it's rare, but twice I've seen somebody drive, and once I was walking downtown, and the guy had the Gonzaga sticker, and I was like, Gonzaga, huh? And he's like, oh, yeah, how'd you know it? I was like, well, because DeMatha's better. I went to DeMatha. And he's like, all right. Right, and then we PS for a few minutes.
But
the
you're
same
friends.
thing. Like, any other circumstance, back in D.C., like, I ain't talking to that idiot.
I was visiting my brother and my sister in Pittsburgh. Go to the Pittsburgh airport. They got a TGI Fridays.
Nice.
I think my flight was at like 9, but TGI Fridays is open at 7:30. So I go to the bar. Dude's wearing a Portland Timbers fucking jersey, right? Beside me, I'm like, the Timbers? He's like, what's wrong with that? I'm like, I live in Seattle. He's like, fuck you. Right? So now we're drinking in the morning, and I don't like. We get on the same flight to Chicago, and then I'm assuming he's flying to Portland or whatever. So we get off in Chicago.
I've been to that Fridays.
And and where my gate was, I went to the closest bar. There was like an hour and a half, 2 hour layover, whatever. I get there, and there he is at the fucking bar. And I'm like, dude, whatever. And he was getting on a flight to Seattle, then to fly to Portland.
Right.
There was no direct. So we just kept, it almost seemed like we spent the entire day together drinking. And at the end of it, all right, well, fuck you then.
Right.
Fuck Portland, And then,
Were you guys on the same flight back to Seattle?
yes.
Okay.
But then he had another flight to Portland. So we drank in Pittsburgh in the morning. When I get on the plane, I walk by his seat, wave to him, like, hey, bro, what's happening, man?
Okay, twice a week you were on the same plane.
And then we get to Chicago.
What the hell?
We start drinking there for the layover, get fucked up, and then, get on the same flight to Seattle. And
I did it in Vegas.
Now we're buddies.
Yeah, I did it in Vegas. There was a guy, I think it's Golf and Coog, I forget his real name, on Twitter. So he was in Vegas. He could see I was in Vegas. So we hooked up at 11:30, midnight. And somebody in his crew was wearing a Timbers jersey. And same thing. We started talking soccer. And then, we ended up all going to that happy hour like 3 a.m. And same thing. And when it left, it was like, all right, well, if I see you in Portland, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice chatting with you.
Dude,
Good talk.
Good talk.
When the Ravens lost to the Bills in the playoffs, I was flying back from Austin, and at the airport, there's a guy wearing Bills gear. I got Ravens gear, so we stared at each other for 1 second, and then we chatted the entire fucking time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Hell of a game, man.
oh my god! Well, the game was just starting, but the internet was kind of spotty. My son's trying to pull it up on his phone, but we should have been enemies, and under any other circumstance, we would have been. And even though they're playing that, and this is for all the marbles, so to speak. Got along fantastically. Super nice guy. I almost felt bad that I was like, hey, fuck you and bad luck to your team.
But that's what the Super Bowl does. It doesn't matter what team you're rooting for, like even the opposition. We were talking to 49ers fans, most of the time that we were down there.
Even after the game, there's one guy who's bitter, which I understand, but overwhelmingly they're like, hey man, congratulations. That's cool of you to say, but fuck you.
Yeah.
I think it's tough for all those trips too. Right? Like The Seahawks and Raiders have a weird kind of not liking each other history. But when I was in London, there was like one Raiders fan that kind of chirped. But it's like, I don't know. Like, what are we going to really go at each other? Like, we all spent thousands to be here.
Exactly.
You know, so like, I think that's a little bit different. Whereas like most NFL games, just especially you look at your division, you can drive everywhere.
Right. Yes, you
or
can.
You look at college stadiums, especially in the South. Like people forget, like those are 3-4 hour drives for all those kids.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, there you go on the men's room happy hour. Have a lovely weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
And yeah, fuck you, Bills. God damn it.
Yeah.
Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now? With just one connection. That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
So I actually tried Gemini a couple days ago, the Gemini Live where you can talk to it, and it is really crazy to have a full-on conversation with this thing. I was just messing around, so I asked it to give me ideas for hosting during the holidays. And when it starts giving you results, you can just stop it and say, okay, but what about something low-key for a smaller group? And then it adjusts to that, and you can just keep going until you get an idea you want. I think that's what I would use it for the most, brainstorming stuff. It's so good if you don't know where to start or if you hit a wall, you just go to Gemini. It helps you get the ball rolling. But obviously you can use it for all kinds of stuff. If you want to learn something new, you can have it give you advice, ask it to explain Bitcoin in simple terms, or you can have it quiz you on microbiology. I mean, imagine being a student and you've got this personal tutor on hand. It's hard to explain. You really just have to play around with it, see how it listens to you, responds, adapts to your style of conversation. Just try it out. It's free.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the Grand Experience.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk Insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070.